Hello, Tri Deltas, and welcome back to our podcast, Let's Talk Tri Delta. I am Mindy Tucker, I'm the interim CEO at Tri Delta, and have the pleasure of hosting today's episode. Our guest today is Bailey Borck Bachamp, the current director of operations for the Kansas State men's basketball team. I'm so excited to talk to her because not only does she do this, she also balances having twin toddlers at home. So I think this is going to be a fun conversation. She's here to talk about her career and the experiences she had and share a little bit of her Tri Delta experience. So Bailey, welcome to the podcast. We're so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So you grew up in Manhattan, Kansas. So you kind of always knew you wanted to attend Kansas State. Tell us a little bit about sort of how that all came about.
Sure. So I definitely have grown up being a K-Stater my entire life. My family has been here my entire life, so it was really all that I knew. And when I started to explore other options, for college, it was what I continued to come back to, and just what felt right. And, part of that decision was, if I do stay here in Manhattan and go to K-State, I don't want to live at home. And my parents definitely encouraged me to not do that. And so I was fortunate that they were supportive of what obviously eventually led me to, attend K-State and be a Tri Delta.
So let's talk about Tri Delta. You knew about Tri Delta before you became one. How did you learn about our organization and what made you want to become a Tri Delta?
Yes. So growing up, we had, I would say, babysitters or, girls in college that would pick us up from school. My parents both worked, so we had drivers that would pick us up at school, take us home, take us to sports practices, things like that. And so two of them were Tri Deltas, and they were the ones that I thought were the coolest, and they are who I connected with the most growing up. And others were great, but these two in particular were like, just, I thought, hung the moon. They were involved. They were people that I wanted to associate myself with, even at a young age. And so I just really felt a strong connection with both of them.
So in school, did you know you wanted to go into the sports industry, or how did that come about? What sort of sparked your love there?
Sure. So I fell into a job as a student assistant in our football office my freshman year, the summer right before I started school. And so that was lined up as I went through recruitment. And I knew that I had that waiting for me, as we started classes in the fall semester. And I, at that time, it was just a student job, and I loved sports, loved being around athletics. And then I started to feel like maybe it was something I wanted to pursue after college. And I would say that I'm definitely a small minority in this profession. Most people have moved around, and I realize that. And I just feel really fortunate to be where I'm at today. That job with football blossomed into an internship with the Kansas City Chiefs, which was completely invaluable. I learned so much in a short summer, and had a great boss with that organization. And then came back for I took a fifth year senior, or excuse me, a fall semester. And so came back for that, ready to jump in the workforce. And I didn't find something with athletics right away, but about 3 months after, a position opened up in men's basketball to be the administrative assistant. And then I was fortunate to work for, I've been fortunate to have two wonderful bosses and head coaches here with men's basketball. And so, as time goes on, I've been able to learn more, put more in my professional toolkit. And I've definitely become, I think I have the best job in the world. So I feel so fortunate that God has blessed me with this every day.
I love that. So you really started kind of entry level and worked your way up.
Exactly. Yes. So student worker, hourly, answered the phones, gave tours. At that time, we did things a lot differently with recruiting. So we were logging, I'm going to date myself, but DVDs and some VHS tapes,
Sure.
bringing that physical film to the coaches. We would help with any operational tasks that we could, just to help organize anyone that needed help in the office. And then slowly but surely that, you know, I guess it piqued my interest with an internship in the NFL. And it was a great experience to be able to see, what that organization was like compared to a college athletic department. And then full-time administrative assistant. And then I've had several other titles in men's basketball, which has led me to where I'm at today.
Yeah. So director of operations for the men's basketball team. What does a typical day look like for you?
Oh, it's different every day. I think that's why I like it. It runs in a big cycle, as far as if we're in season or when practice starts season, spring and then summer, and then you're back into it once fall starts. So at this time of year, we've done a lot of camps. Those are done, but a lot of the wrap up paperwork that comes with those. We've had visits for prospective student athletes that come to campus that we want to play for us, whether those be from the transfer portal or, we'll start looking at bringing some high school kids onto campus in the fall. So we're always ready for a visit. And then the guys can go out recruiting. And so, assisting them in any way that we can, if that's finding a charter plane, if that's, helping them organize where they need to go at what time. But it's a lot of that right now. Started to look at the fall schedule. And so our non-conference games, conference games, finding planes for those, hotels, meals, just kind of starting to get ready for what will be a very busy fall.
Yeah, that's a lot of logistics.
Yes, yes, it is.
So I can imagine this is probably a pretty male dominated arena. Pardon the pun there. And I'm curious how you have sort of helped make that work for you and what advice you might have for others who are sort of aspiring to a career in a male dominated field.
Sure. So you're right. It is. I am the only female on our coaching staff. I have a wonderful student assistant. Her name is Island, and I see a lot of what I was in her in ways. She's excited to be here, and I anytime we can bring a female along in this profession, it's especially in the coaching profession, I'm all for it. And so I think being able to make a mark in this industry, a lot of that has to do with having some tough skin, rolling with the punches a little bit. And I guess I've tried to not let little things bother me, as we've moved, as I've moved on in my career. And so I'm going to make mistakes. That someone told me that on like my first day, and I have made mistakes, and you learn from it. And I would, I think, say that same thing to any young male in this profession as well. But when you ask about a young female, I think don't let it intimidate you. You can do anything you put your mind to. There were some ladies in football that weren't administrative assistants, but they were helping on the operations side. And I saw that as a real niche for myself. I don't know enough about basketball I shouldn't be coaching, but this is a way that I can use my talents and my strengths to assist our program, be a part of something I love and care about. And so I would say find your strengths, really lean into what you are good at, and find mentors that, push you to do hard things and encourage you to do things that you're not comfortable with, because that's how you learn. And so don't be scared. Jump in feet first, and trust the process, which I would say is not always easy, but things will work themselves out I think if you really put your mind to it. And you have to be around good people too. Like I said, I've been around some really great people in this industry, and I'm fortunate to be where I'm at today with Coach Tang. And I honestly hope the best for any young ladies that see themselves working in athletics as a career.
I love it that you've sort of, you've seen people help you and then you've turned around and helped others. And you sort of see that as a part of what you do and a part of what you should be doing, especially for women. And I know in Tri Delta, we talk about that a lot. We've got to lift everybody up and help everybody move along and have opportunities.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You've talked about the importance of understanding what you can control and what you can't control.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit more about that.
So in my position, I'm the one that coordinates with, I guess the perfect example would be, I'm the one that communicates with our charter flights. So I send the schedule, I set it up. I'm the one that's in communication with our charter operator. So, when the fog is heavy in Des Moines, Iowa, and we have to stay the night in Des Moines,
Yeah.
instead of flying on to the next location or to fly home,
Yeah.
you just find another hotel and you just kind of roll with the punches. So a lot of that you can't control, the weather, and I think too, it's really hard to put your trust into other people that it's going to be right. So I, I don't like to be the one that everyone looks at when something's not ready. So it's really hard to put your trust into like a hotel that, that the rooms are going to be ready, and it's an airline that they're going to be on time. But we've been really fortunate to find great partners. But that is controlling the weather. It would be just the prime example of what you asked about.
If only we could. For someone
Yeah.
all day Sunday trying to get home from an event with weather. It
It's
was
the worst.
and
It's the
there's nothing you
worst.
can do about it. You just have to roll with it.
Uh-huh. And find a good place in the airport and a snack, and
Yeah,
that's that.
settle in. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you have twins at home,
Yes.
and that sounds like a pretty demanding job. I'm just wondering how do you balance everything? And we often as women talk about how to have it all and do it all and balance all these things. You're doing two really big things right now. How do you balance those things?
My husband is the biggest supporter that I could ever ask for. He played college football here at K-State.
Okay.
And so he knows what this job entails. He knows what my career goals are and have been, and he's watched me, um, be excited and scared and frustrated and happy, and he's seen all the emotions, over my professional career that I've had, and so I'm really fortunate that he does what he does for our family, and I know that if I have to, go to a game on the road, that he, is doing what he needs to with our twins, and I'm just really fortunate to have him. And then we're both from Manhattan, so my family's here, his family's here. So without our parents and some other really special people, this would be a lot harder than it is.
The
It is
village,
hard, but
the village is important.
yes, and he's definitely the big foundation for that. So I'm very thankful for Cole.
That's awesome. How old are the twins?
They just turned 3 in May, so they love the players. They love games. They always ask if I'm going to a K-State basketball game, which I think work is the game, but
Yeah.
we're trying to get them on understanding schedules and things like that. So they love Willie the Wildcat, our mascot. So it's been
Okay.
really fun to see them
That's
excited about
Yeah.
what Cole and I have enjoyed over our
Yeah.
time in Manhattan.
You can bring them into a part of it at least. That's
Yes.
yeah, and engaging for them. That's great.
Uh-huh.
So how do you think Tri Delta helped shape your career and your personal development up to this point?
Oh, I would say that took place over several different, I think, milestone moments. Through recruitment, I found right off the bat met one of my very best friends, and we were on the same rush floor. We have names close to each other in the alphabet, so we hoped for the same house and ended up in the same house. So we had our bid cards open Tri Delta, and my babysitter was friends with her sister. So they were both already in the house. And so we were like, we'll be like their little sisters. So that was a huge moment of relief and excitement for what was to come. My freshman semester, I'm not proud to share that my GPA was less than desirable. And having that accountability with Tri Delta and the fact that if you continue down this path, then you don't get to do this anymore. And so I think the thought of losing what I cared about, my friends and the opportunity to live in the house that I had always, gone to as a young lady. And all of that lied in front of me hung in the balance of get your schoolwork done, get your act together. So that was huge. And then there's so many times
I'm
throughout.
glad you shared that. I think it's important. Like, none of us are perfect, and we all, coming to college is hard. We all struggle with different things. So I'm glad you shared that. I think it's an interesting story of looking at where you are now.
I'm
And
not proud of it.
no, it's
It
not
just,
necessarily that, but I think it's like it shows vulnerability from you, and it shows that Tri Delta really will come around you and sort of help guide you and support you in those times.
they were great. My roommate was also a Tri Delta in the dorms, and she was like, "You got to." They held me accountable, which at 18 is
Yeah.
um, not easy. But that's, I think, why you join, right? To find those friendships and to find support. And Coach Tang has said in his press conferences at times that discipline is like the purest form of love, and um, so
Yeah.
that's kind of come full circle. And then so many times in college, through excitement or disappointment, we shared in those. You think back to like the Easter egg hunts and the late night pizza, and just all the little moments that you don't get to have anymore because everybody has families and life goes on, right? And so you think back to those, and those are really fond memories. And then getting together after college for these big moments of weddings and births. And the final thing I would say is my younger sister went through rush here at K-State too. And so she had um, gone in with an open mind, which I am so happy that she did. But we're obviously hoping that she's a Tri-Delt too, and she ended up getting her first choice, which was Tri-Delt. So it's like that was the cherry on top when it came really full circle. It's like I get to go to siblings weekends as the older sister, not in the house. So we get to share in that as well, which is so special. It was really a really happy day for me as an older sister.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's awesome to be able to share that with your sister, your real life sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I'm curious where you go from here. What are your future goals professionally, and what do you think comes next?
I've wondered that for myself. Um, I have, when Coach Tang got here in his introductory press conference, he said we're going to elevate. And our university and our program has had so much success. I've been on two Big 12 championship teams here with men's basketball, but I truly believe that we're going to win a national championship. And I know that that doesn't just start with me. You have to have the right staff and the right players, and things have to go your way. And I think that, God has shown so much favor to us as we look at like all of the things that have really come together, um, and just things are, I really believe we can do it in short. But for me personally, I wish I could give you a better answer, but I have had a hard time really zeroing in on what that is specifically, because I had my heart set on this position for so long. And I've been able to learn from some really great coworkers under, two staffs with other sports. Um, so I would say helping young women in this industry, like I love when I get a call or a text or an email that says, "Hey, I'm in school, graduating. I don't know you, but wondered if I could pick your brain about working in athletics. I love being able to continue to help young women in this field. And then we have a group on campus called Girls in Sports Club. And that's girls that work in athletics, want to work in athletics, just love watching sports. And so I just signed on to be an advisor with them, and I'm really looking forward to getting them all back on campus and, helping young women any way I can.
I love that. It also sounds like you just believe there's more to do there. Like you're not done. You're ready to
No,
move through what you believe is coming, which I love. It's
thank you.
fun.
I I echo that. Yes, we've got more to do.
Yeah. I have to assume there are a million funny and memorable stories from this job because it's the nature of your work. What are a couple of stories that you would share? Just something funny or memorable from working with the team?
Oh man. I think day-to-day banter in our office is just so funny. There was one time that we had gotten together to give Coach Tang a gift. And he is so generous with us, and he and his wife Ray do so much for us and our families. So we got together, wanted to give him something nice. So we all put down, to buy him this gift, but we didn't know how to give it to him. And so we didn't just want to say, here you go, and have him unwrap it. And so we had gone into his office and gotten like really obscure items like his business card and wrapped that up. I think we gave him his national championship ring back. And so he had him open all these things that were his. And he's like, what is the deal? And of course, Dream Dowling, he's like my big bro on staff. But he's taping the whole thing. And then eventually coach opens the shoes. So he's like, why are you giving me my business card? Why are you giving me, this book that I have? So he starts to realize that they're all his things. And then we got him this, it just fell into place. But that was funny. I think maybe not so funny, but how quickly we have all gelled, I think really made it feel like we're all in the right place at the right time. And I'm not sure that that's quite funny, but like I'd mentioned Jareem, he said once, like, yeah, if you get fries, make sure I get mayonnaise. And we both eat mayonnaise with fries. So like we keep calling each other like bro, and we keep finding all these ways that like we have to be related, right? Like there's no way we're too similar. So
Right.
just
That cohesion though that comes from a team like that, like that feels special when that happens. I've
it
had it
does.
a couple times in my life and I just like you just know and it feels special and it's, you sort of know you're a part of something that you feel that. I think that's probably what harkening back to what you said earlier about your belief that there's like big things coming because you're a part of this team that's just working so well together.
Yes, I think that's a huge part of it. And I felt like, you may not always agree. You may not always come to the decision that you want. But I think to go back to Tri Delta, like the things that you think back on about like the food service that we have or the standards committee or your new slate, like things that were maybe, tough to deal with, totally helps you with things in, your professional career, your home life, that there's a lot more people in this world than just you. And we all have to live together and work together and make this work for a common goal. So that's continued to hold true, in my professional career.
If you could go back to your, let's say 18, 19, 20-year old self and give her a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
Lighten up. I think, I said I didn't take school seriously, but like the room doesn't have to be clean. You don't have to have this just a certain way. Like just chill. You're fine. So I think I took things probably too seriously. And life's way too short to lose sleep over. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just I could probably use that lesson sometimes now, but
Didn't we
my
all?
husband and the staff might say otherwise. But yeah, Just don't take it too seriously.
Well, we have loved talking to you today. This has been fun. I love getting some
Yes.
insight into what's going on at Kansas State in athletics. And we're so proud of you, of all the work that you're doing. How can our listeners connect with you or find you if they want to?
Yes. Well, I've really loved being on too and just appreciate being asked in our conversation. The best way to find me is through my email. It's bbachamp@kstatesports.com. Or you can find me on Instagram. That's probably my favorite social site. It's bbachamp. And I hope that you feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat with you about if it's sports or not, or K-State or Tri-Delta or something that's totally, totally left field. Love to chat about any of it.
Love it. Well, thanks so much. This has been a great conversation. We're very appreciative of you. Tridelta's, isn't she terrific? What fun to have her on today. If you are looking at summer, we're in the middle of summer right now, taping this in July, and you love wine, you can now enjoy both while supporting Tridelta's foundation with our exclusive, excuse me, with our exclusive perpetual Napa Valley wine. This summer, don't miss our latest release of Delta Love Rosé, now on sale. And thanks to our partnership with Fairwinds Estate Winery, 20% of each purchase actually comes back to Tridelta's foundation. So we hope everybody will run out and get their rosé for summer today. You can do that at perpetualnapa.com. We hope you'll like, subscribe, and rate our podcast. We love those 5-star ratings, even though there's 3 stars in our crescent. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time, Delta Love.